Thanks, Hamida, for your introduction. I'm very happy and pleased to be here today. And that's why we'll be very happy to share you our own experience in France on two sides. First side, because I had the chance in 2013 to be one of the people who started the French Tech experience, and which is focused on helping by the government the French ecosystem to emerge. And secondly, as a startup ecosystem player, because we are one of the two key players as an accelerator and innovation center operator. So first things, what I've seen is that nowadays we can say that the French tech policy was a success after 5 years. First, because between 2013 and 2017, the number of startups more than double, the number of scale-up more than double, and the number of investment is on a 4 multiple. So it was a very strong success to invest in the ecosystem. So what's happened? First, it was building a community of people where people from the private sector and people from the public sector were working hand in hand. That was the idea of starting first a brand, not an association, not a committee, but first a brand, French Tech. And in this brand, having entrepreneur on state authority to work together. And after, what was very interesting is we had a very concrete and operational plan. First thing, it was labelization. So we tried to find in France where should be our K cluster, and we asked the territory to build their own strategy to work together. So the first cluster we labelized in France, we are not the most powerful one. For example, Marseille was not labelized at the first time. Sofia Antipolis, where we are all our spacecraft industry, was not labelized. Who was labelized were more very active startup ecosystem like the one in Brittany on cybersecurity, for example. So giving back the initiative on local power was a very strong sign. And it's the same thing we have done overseas. Overseas, we asked French entrepreneurs to start the French Tech Hub all around the world, but by their own initiative. So it was not a fixed plan to say we want a hub in Korea. We have a very good one here. I'm very happy for what French Tech is doing here in Korea. But we have one in Canada, but it was not fixed by the government. So that's freedom. I find it very interesting. Secondly, the big change was building the good role model. I remember when I started startup 10 years ago in France, it was not a good idea to start a startup. All the best students, for example, at HEC or ESSEC, only 3% of the attendees wanted to become an entrepreneur. So a big issue was showing this role model and make the proof that it was possible to be a choice of life. And this switch, which is done now today, makes that the best students in the university want to become an entrepreneur. And for that is not so well known, so I want to work on that. The very strong importance of the revolution we have made in education. We have built this entrepreneurship program under the Programme d'investissement d'avenir, under the First Minister law, to change the way entrepreneurship was starting in the school and university. And if you want, or if we want to have scale up in the future, it's first a question of numbers. We need a lot of startups. We need 1,000 of startups if we want to have 10 to 15 scale up. And that's a very important point. And to do so, we have to start on a very early stage. And by chance, the Korean and the French economy are very similar. We are a very big group. We are very good engineers, but we do not have enough small and middle-sized company. And to bring them to birth, we have to start in the university already and in the research centers, because I think the scale-ups in this very global competition have to be linked to our best aspect of our economy, and it's research, it's the university. So, for example, thanks to, very short on that, but I have to come back to that, but thanks to what we have done, for example, with KISET and with the TIPS program, the startup we welcome from Korea to France, I've seen that one of the strong assets they have is that technological skills, and that's really not to forget. I try to be short. And secondly, to conclude, we need investment. If we have the good number of startups based on the research centers, based on the university, we need investment. It's what has done BPI in France. More than 50% of the investment is directly or through investment fund put into the companies. So this strong element of money going to the system was very important. It is what I think has to be done also in Korea. I think we need to have the investment tools to support the scale-up. Last things, how can a scale-up be successful? What is the difference between a company who stay local and a company who become global? With GF, we often have this discussion. I think the idea is, what is your first market? Do you see yourself as a local player, or do you want to be global at the starting point? And what we need to do, and so what we start at Creatively, for example, with the city of Ulsan, with Ulsan Technopark, that we want to do that with Seoul, with Busan City. We want to see on a very early stage if this team, if this entrepreneur have the potential to be the global company that we need for tomorrow. And that is also a very important point, having a very early stage global exposure so that we can focus on helping this high potential company. And for that, we need to invest in them. And the investment should be from Korean money, but also from international money, so that we can bring the know-how. That's very shortly what I want to say. Thank you.
Yann,